Out here with Steven Alker today. Steven's been playing the new level irons now, coming up I think on 2 years, does that sound right? And as you know, if you follow the PGA Tour champions, Steven's had a heck of a run this year. Really been playing some great golf ever since June. Today we're out here just to chat with him a little bit so you guys can get to know him a little better. We brought the new 2022 products out to allow Steven to get a feel for those, but he may not be changing anytime soon with the way he's been playing. So Steven, just really tell us a little bit about the run you've been on and what's been working for you.
Yeah, well, it's, I mean, first of all, just grateful to be out there and qualifying and get a chance to play. And I think it's just been building, you know what I mean? Like, I've been building up for it, focusing on the Champions Tour, and, you know, obviously my game's come together at the right time. Body feels good, you know, a whole combination thing. My equipment, my whole bag is set up, ready to go. New level stuff is great, so I guess I've just got all my ducks in a row. That's been the big one.
Well, it's been a lot of fun to watch for sure, and I think for us, you know, we can kind of relate to that. We've put some puzzle pieces in place, and I feel pretty strong about our 2022 product line, so certainly greatly appreciative for the opportunity that you know, a player of your caliber has put our stuff into play and played as well as you have with it, and just really excited about what the future holds for both of us. So thank you so much. And watching you swing today, I mean, I can see why you're having success. Your swing looks awesome.
Yeah, it's feeling pretty good, and the new line looks fantastic, I recommend. I've transitioned from the 902 into the PF2, and then now looking to go the new stuff. It looks great. I've only hit 5 or 6 shots, but good feedback already, so that's a good sign.
Awesome. Well, let's hit some more and see what you think, and then we'll test some stuff and get an idea of what fits your eye.
Okay. Well, I got the 623 CB here, which looks pretty similar to my PF2, what I've got right now. You know, the lines and the shape, the whole club just looks fantastic. So this is not my shaft, but I'll tell you exactly how it feels with the head and everything. It feels really good.
Perfect. But so that's the new 623. As you know, it's pretty similar in look to what you've been playing in the PF2. I think what you'll find with that is it may be just a touch easier to draw than the old one. With the cutaway here, there's a little less weight low on the toe, but a little bit more high. So in terms of the horizontal CG, it's probably somewhat neutral, but in my experience, when I hit it, I found it just a touch easier to draw than the PF2, but definitely more forgiving than the PF2.
I mean, the lines are fantastic. As I said, it looks close to what I've been using, so that's a good sign already. I've had a few already, but they feel great.
Yeah, that's great there. About a 3-yard draw. Yeah, a little 3-yard draw. You can't beat that. So I think the big thing with those is, you know, the ability for a player like yourself, or even you know, high-level amateur, they have the ability to mix and match. Where if they wanted to put the 623 MB in the short irons, they can, because the big benefit is that it's a seamless transition because they're all derived from the same footprint. So the offset's the same, the lie angle's the same, the top line thickness is going to be the same, the overall heel shape, toe height, everything's basically identical. So you just get a little bit more cavity and just a touch wider sole in the CB, but overall it's a pretty tough choice. It's like choosing between two high-end sports cars. They're both great.
Exactly. And I could see a lot of people doing the combo sets, you know, working down and then using these in the short irons. Got a really good look behind the ball, for sure.
Yeah, that is absolutely gold right there. Wow. Here's the CB. So again, just a touch more meat than the MB, but not a lot. Right? So, cavity designs very, very similar. Top line on that's about 0.010 of an inch, which is negligible. Thicker than what it is on the MB. Wow, great trajectory, but maybe just a smidge fin?
Yeah, just a touch.
Just a touch.
Yeah. This club is almost, feels like it's in between the 902 and the PF2. Like,
yeah, that was the idea.
Was it? Okay, there you go. Because I feel like I'm getting a bit of both clubs in one. You know what I mean?
I think the big thing with the PF2 was it appealed to. That's perfect there. The PF2 appealed to a lot of players in terms of the aesthetic, but it just wasn't quite as forgiving as the 902. So in years past, as you know, we had a lot of iron models, but a lot of them were very close to one another. So the big goal for 2022 was like, we really need to come up with 4 irons that are all very different, and then the 623s, as we spoke, can be combined. But then our new 902 line and the 902 OS and the 902 PD can also be combined. So it was really defining, you have player A, that's like your MB player, the best of the best. Player B, who's very, very skilled, or yet just sees the benefits of the combo set. Sure. Then you go to player C, they can't really get a PF2 to work, but they kind of want something with limited offset, but still has a little pop. That's kind of our new 902 PD. And then you have a player like myself, which I could hit the others, but I just don't get to play in practice. So for me, like a 902 OS is perfect. It still looks great, but it has the additional forgiveness. So we're really happy about the new stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you got all bases covered, which is great. But for me, as a better player, yeah, these are looking great. Just because for me, it's very important visually to look down and see something I have that looks good.
Sure.
That's the first thing I can look at, and then from there it's a feel point, workability. So that's why I play this stuff, Eric, because I like it and it works and it looks good. I wouldn't use it otherwise.
No, I fully understand, and we certainly appreciate that. How about trying? I'm just curious. Let's see what you think of this new PD. So this is the PD. That's essentially the same size as the 623 CD. Top line thickness and everything is virtually identical. Sole width is virtually identical. That's a little bit stronger loss, so I expect that what you'll see, if all things were equal and you had your shaft and everything, I expect you'd see that come out on a little flatter, stronger trajectory. But that has a little bit different feel and a little different audible with the undercut in the back. It just kind of tunes out some of the vibration.
You know, what I've noticed, Eric, straight away is just you've got different irons here for everybody, but a kind of a similar look. You haven't gone, you haven't got a broad spectrum. It's very narrow. All the stuff is very playable and good lines and just looks great behind the ball. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think a lot of times what has happened in the past with our other irons as we were getting going, you kind of try some different things, and then once you find your identity and what works for you. So we really tried to make sure that everything in the line this year had a continuity across it. So even though they were very different golf clubs, they all look very similar. And I think that's kind of what we're known for, is that classy yet industrious kind of look, where they look manufactured but yet refined. Yeah. So right here's a longer iron, which this may serve a purpose. I know at one time we spoke about maybe getting a little bit more height out of the PF2 in the longer club.
Yes.
So that shaft will probably be a little too soft for you. I think you'll probably spin that and launch it a little too high, but nonetheless you'll get an idea. And in terms of an oversized club, that should look pretty good to your eye.
It does, absolutely. So it just looks more forgiving straight away. This kind of looks like the club we go to club. So
I feel like a lot of the 12, 14 handicaps, they buy a cast game improvement club because it's weird. It's a misconception in the industry. Everybody thinks forged are less forgiving, but it's really a manufacturing process. And in the past, I'd say that's true with you know, some of the blades or smaller compact cavity backs, but really a true one-piece forged club, if you know, get your mass position correctly on the club and you give the individual a large enough hitting surface, there's no reason why it can't be as forgiving as any of the cast models. Offer way better player feedback, and I think the biggest thing, as you well know with all the professionals that play forged, is you don't really see hot spots. Once you kind of get your number in the one-piece forged club, you kind of know what to expect for your distance control, and I'm a big believer in that.
It's another one. It felt great. And to me, this doesn't look overly offset. You know, for
it's not
for a high handicap playing club. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so the offset on the OS and the PD are actually identical.
Right. Okay.
So that way you can mix and match those as well.
Fantastic.
So we have two new models of wedge. This is the first prototype. The logoing is going to change a bit, and we'll have the loft milled on the sole. But what we've done is, typically speaking, from run to run, most of the way that they put the grinds on is by hand. So it varies. Of course, they have the mechanisms in place to make sure that it's consistent, but in no way, shape, or form can it be as consistent as a machine grind. So we went to a milled grind. This is going to be what we call the SPN-M. Again, it's fully forged. You know, a lot more heel relief than what we've had in some of the wedges in the past. Good, clean look. And we've actually milled the face this time, other than just the grooves, but it's very subtle, so it doesn't chew the ball up, but it will add just a little bit more friction and spin.
Yeah, great.
Especially as the product wears 2-3 years down the road if it's still in the bag, which isn't an issue for yourself, but some amateurs tend to keep their gear a little bit longer. So yeah, go ahead and hit some shots with that, see what you think of the feel of that.
Enough bounce to go through the grass nicely, you know, and I like this rounded edge too, which is great. I personally prefer that. So,
yeah, that is more reminiscent. I think you probably agree of some of the wedges that you and I are similar in age, kind of grew up with.
Exactly.
They all look like that. Now everything is really, really square on the lead edge.
That feels great. Can I hit one more there?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
So that's something we need to do some work on.
Yeah, here's
this
is the same series, but that's going to be an S grind. So that is probably something that somebody like yourself may consider more in like the 48, a 50. On that with a little bit of milling is just makes all the difference in the world. I'm glad you like the look of them, because I know you've been using a different manufacturer's wedge, so if we can at some point transition into wedges, that would be great.
Let's play around with those.
I think, you know, you pretty well hit most of the new irons. I'm stoked to hear that you like them. I'd like you to hit the hybrid, see what you think of the new hybrid.
Okay.
So again, you know, somebody like yourself that's a traditionalist, I think we all prefer to play something that looks traditional, but we also know that we need that little added forgiveness. So that's our new NLH hybrid. Has an adjustable weight, but a classic shape, a lot like the when hybrids first started coming out. But we put a carpenter steel face on it, so it has great ball speeds, but not overly hot, where if you're hitting it into a par 5 or a long par 4, it'll still sit down.
Yeah. A lot of the rescues are going too big. They almost look like a 5-wood.
Yeah.
You know, there's too much back in them, and some you get spinners, and you're too inconsistent. But you know, I've hit 3 shots here, and it's been it's been pretty consistent. So I like the look of it. It's good.
I think the big thing too with a lot of players, they are kind of scared of hybrids because they tend to hook them rather easily, and especially better players. So with this, it's a very neutral bias, whereas a lot of the hybrids now have a heel weighted bias to make it easier to turn over for the average player. And the cool thing with that weight, we actually make that weight from 4 to 14 grams, so you can experiment around with the length of the hybrid too, which I think is important, because for somebody like myself, you and I are similar in height, I feel uncomfortable with like a 41.5-inch hybrid on a 20. I prefer it like 39 3/4, so we can achieve the same swing weight without putting a bunch of lead tape or what have you on it.
It feels great. It all looks fantastic, Eric. Love what you've done with the new line. And 2022 be exciting.
Yes, sir. We feel the same way.
Awesome.